That's for you, Mom.
Austin Butler is remembering a very important person on the Saturday Night Live stage. The Elvis star made his hosting debut on the late-night variety show this weekend, and during his monologue, he paid tribute to his late mother, Lori, who died of cancer in 2014. Austin said that some of his favorite childhood memories with his mom were of them watching SNL together.
We'd watch every week, and even though I had this crippling shyness when I was with her, I'd do anything to make my mom laugh. I'd make funny faces and voices. I'd even do this ridiculous Gollum impression.
The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood actor said that he was a, quote, really shy kid, but that those goofy moments with his mom helped him shake some of that timidity.
Being silly with her is what broke me out of my shell, and it's the core of what started me in acting.
Austin then shared that he's kept his mom's memory close preparing for SNL.
I've been thinking about her a lot this week, just imagining how proud she would be that her son, who used to not even be able to order food for myself at a restaurant, is now standing on this stage.
The actor emotionally took a moment to wipe a tear and take a breath, and then went on to say these touching words.
And tonight, just know that anytime you see me doing a silly voice or making a funny face, that's for you, Mom.
Austin has spoken before about carrying his mom's memory with him into his performances. Earlier this year, he told Vogue that while working on his audition tape for Elvis, a dream about his mom gave him a new idea. He said, "I had this nightmare that my mother was alive again, but dying, and it felt so fresh and painful." Adding, "I've been watching all these documentaries and learned a couple days prior that Elvis's mom had passed away when he was 23, the same as me. I thought he probably had nights where he woke up from nightmares like this. So what can I do with that?" Austin continued, "I sat down at the piano in my bathrobe and just started fiddling. I've been practicing Unchained Melody for a while, but I'd always been singing it to a lover. That night, I sang it to my mom. I wasn't trying to look and sound like Elvis. I wasn't trying to do anything but take that emotion and pour it into the song." Austin went on to land the role and has received major acclaim for his performance. Back in May, he told Access Hollywood about his preparations to play the king of rock and roll.
My beginning was just absorbing everything. I felt like an octopus with my arms just reaching out, trying to grab every bit of information on Elvis. I read every book that was written. I watched every bit of footage. I listened to every song that he had ever recorded and all the B-sides and everything. And then I started having to break it up into pieces because his voice changed a lot over the years. And so it wasn't just one voice. It was hearing how his voice changed from 54 to 56 to 68 to 72 and the whole way through. And I knew we were going to be filming out of sequence, so I had to get really specific about each one, and so that's what I did, and I was privileged because I had some of the best dialect coaches in the world to help me, and I worked with about 5 different people, and just on the speaking voice, and just got a little bit. I'm such a sponge. I like to take little bits from a lot of different teachers, and then at the end of the day. During COVID, I had these 6 months where I wasn't working with anybody. And we were about 6 days out from shooting before COVID, so that was the time where I really felt like it sunk in. And so that was the silver lining of that time, because I just had time to walk down the beach for 4 hours listening to Elvis's voice, and
the physical toll of doing all that you did, we're living in it so much. And I know you talked about it recently, how it took a physical toll, but I want to talk about that, but more, how did you come back from it? How did you bring yourself back from that place that literally sent you to the hospital after you wrapped?
Yeah, I did go to the hospital the day after I finished. I spent a week in bed, and then I had to fly straight to London. And I started filming something else. And it seemed, I couldn't fathom playing another role at the time. Because I felt that I needed this decompression time. And I talked to Tom about it, I talked to Baz, and I really said, what do you think, what do you do at the end? Because I had a complete existential crisis when I finished the film, because I didn't know what my life was anymore, And so, and Tom said, I think it could be really healthy for you to just jump into something and have to explore and learn and do new things, and because I probably would have sunk into a pretty deep depression if I hadn't done anything. So while I wanted to just go to the Bahamas and lay on the beach for like 3 months, I ended up going straight to London And after this hospital and being in a bed for a week, and I went to boot camp because I was doing a show that takes place in the military. So I went straight to boot camp. So suddenly I'm in fatigues and I'm going on all these runs and doing physical training and all these things. And it was really interesting. It was because Baz calls it the methadone program. Like, how do you get off at the end? And for me, that was mine, I guess, because you go from being Elvis, he's the center of every room. He is this really magnetic figure, and then suddenly now I'm just one of a ton of guys in fatigues. And that's what Elvis went through when he went to the Army. So it was another one of those wild parallels that I just thought, what's life?
You just
right
live in
now?
Elvis
That's
every
wild.
turn, sir.
Yeah.